after a long gap due to COVID-19 and Umfan, we are once again in the class of life science. We are discussing about the endocrine system. যেটাকে বলা হয় অন্তঃক্ষরা তন্ত্র. We have already discussed that endocrine system is a system where the secretion is directly discharged inside the bloodstream or blood vessel, and the system is controlled by some major glands. Those are known as the endocrine glands, and among that pituitary is known as the master gland. Because few major hormones are secreted from this gland like STH, ACTH, GTH and TSH, as we have already discussed that STH reacts on the body cell. It helps in cell division and thus it helps in the growth of the body. ACTH being secreted from the anterior pituitary or frontal pituitary reaches to the gland present over kidney, that is the suprarenal gland. Or adrenal gland. And helps in the secretion of few major hormones. These regulate different functions. GTH being secreted from anterior pituitary reacts on ovary and helps to secrete some major hormones, which we will discuss later on. Another hormone, major hormone, is TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, which stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. As we have already discussed, it controls the hormone thyroxine being secreted from thyroid gland controls feedback mechanism. That means when the level of thyroxine after secretion increases, it stimulates the pituitary not to secrete TSH anymore, and thus it regulates the self secretion and the thyroxine level gets diminished. In this way, TSH and thyroxine maintains a feedback mechanism within themselves. Right now we come to the major disturbances which being caused by the hyper or hyposecretion of the major hormones. For instance, we can say about TSH. As we have said, TSH helps in the division of the cell and thus promotes the growth of the body. So often we see that someone is very much taller than normal. So normally the question arises, why this thing happens? Due to excess secretion of TSH in younger period, the tallness of the man or woman occurs, which is known as gigantism. Number one, this is caused by the hyper secretion of STH. What would happen if the secretion is less? That is called dwarfism. If hyposecretion or less secretion occurs. Number 2, the third situation may appear, that is called acromegaly. What is that? The person, due to hypersecretion of STH in adult, this occurs in child, this also occurs in child, but this may happen in case of adult or aged person. Due to hypersecretion of STH, the bones of the limbs becoming bigger and wider, and thus a gorilla-like appearance occurs due to largeness and as well as due to the folding of the skin. A gorilla-like appearance occurs, that is known as acromegaly. So these are the major problems in case of STH due to hyper or hyposecretion. Right now we are coming to TSH. Due to hypersecretion, though there is no direct evidence that due to hypersecretion of TSH it is happening, but it is evident that due to hypersecretion of TSH the level of thyroxine increases, and due to hyposecretion of TSH the level of thyroxine decreases. So there is an indirect involvement of TSH in case of making the problems. If thyroxine level is high, then hyperthyroidism occurs, the eye becomes swollen. In case of hyposecretion, cretinism and myxedema occurs in case of child and adult respectively. So we will come in the discussion of these diseases during discussion of thyroxine. Right now we are coming to the hormones which are not secreted from the pituitary directly. What are these hormones and what are the role of these hormones in our body? We'll discuss right now. First of all, insulin. Insulin is a hormone which is secreted from the beta cell of the islets of Langerhans of pancreas. In Bengali that is called Agnasoy, present in our digestive system. So automatically the question arises, what are the other hormones, or there are any other cell in pancreas? Definitely there are 3 types of cells present in the islet of Langerhans. What are these? These are basically alpha cell, beta cell and delta cell. From alpha cell, glucagon is secreted, which increases the level of glucose in our blood during starvation or due to a long gap when we are attending 2 to 3 coaching classes successively. We would not have sufficient time to take our breakfast or something else, then we are not becoming dead due to starvation, because from the glucose stored in our body, the glucose is supplied to the bloodstream, and from glycogen the glucose is formed after the breakage of the glycogen, which is facilitated by glucagon. So glucagon helps to increase the blood sugar level, and as we have mentioned earlier, insulin is secreted from the beta cell of the pancreas, and it helps to minimize the glucose level of our body. Why? So if the glucose level gets increased, there will be many problems in our body, as we know from the surrounding experience that a person suffering from diabetes mellitus would have many problems, that the healing of the wounds doesn't occur very easily. The person may become slim and slim at a regular interval. That means the loss of the body weight, and some other problems like muscle ache and the loss of thirst, etc. would occur simultaneously. These are the problems in case of diabetes mellitus. Another term is there related to that, diabetes insipidus, though that is not related to insulin. We'll discuss it later on. Diabetes insipidus occurs due to hormone adrenaline, which is secreted from the medulla. The outer part is known as the cortex of the adrenal gland, and the inner portion is known as the medulla. And adrenaline is ADH is secreted from the medulla. ADH is secreted from the posterior pituitary. I correct it. ADH is secreted from the posterior pituitary. Less secretion of ADH may cause increase in the urine volume, increase of water in the urine, and thus a frequent urination occurs due to lack of ADH. So right now we are coming to the hormone secreted from pancreas, and the third one secreted from the delta cell of pancreas is somatotropin. As we have mentioned earlier, due to secretion of STH, someone increases in get increased in length, in height, but the increase is not unlimited. It is limited up to a certain age. It occurs generally up to 18 to 20 years. In rare cases, it may happen up to 20 to 21 to 22 years. So the growth becomes stunted due to a balance in between the two hormones, that is STH, in between STH and somatotropin. Somatotropin is a hormone which stunts the growth after the fixed age. So these are the major roles of different hormones secreted from different cell of pancreas. Right now the question arises, how insulin regulates the blood sugar level. Insulin has a major role to control the blood sugar level. The normal blood sugar level of human being is 80 to 120 milligram per 100 ml of blood. This is maintained quite frequently, but abnormality may occur due to lack of the secretion of insulin. So the question comes, how insulin maintains the blood sugar level? Number one, it increases either the breakdown process of the glucose present in our bloodstream, or it removes the sugar or the glucose anyhow from the blood. These are the two basic mechanisms how insulin controls the blood sugar. Number one, it increases function of this is the function of insulin. Number one, it increases the rate of glycolysis and Krebs cycle. These are the two breakdown processes during respiration, particularly in aerobic respiration, or the breakdown of glucose to yield energy for our function, different functions. So these two are breakdown processes of glucose. Number two is the removal of glucose from the bloodstream. That is called, it increases glycogenesis. What is that? Conversion of glucose into glycogen. You may know glycogen is a polysaccharide and it gets stored in liver and muscle. So if we can remove the glucose from the bloodstream, it gets stored into our liver and muscle, and thus the glucose is removed from bloodstream and the level gets decreased. Level of glucose gets decreased. Thus it controls the blood sugar level. Number three, it prevents glycogenolysis. What is that? Conversion of glycogen to glucose. Conversion of glycogen to glucose is prevented. Glycogenolysis means conversion of glucose to glycogen. Conversion of glycogen to glucose. So insulin prevents glycogenolysis. That's why glucose is not formed and it cannot increase the blood sugar level. And number four is it prevents neoglucogenesis. Formation of glucose from non-glucose substances. It prevents this. These are the preventive measures. Formation of glucose from non-glucose substances. What are these non-glucose substances? The formation of glucose from either from fat or from protein In rare case of diabetes mellitus, person is advised not to take cereals if he or she takes a bit of fish. So the cereals are the pulses. Pulses are the rich in protein, but he or she cannot take sufficient protein from which the glucose is formed or glucose being converted. In this, the level of sugar into the blood. So in this way, insulin controls the blood sugar level. I repeat, it increases the rate of glycolysis and Krebs cycle. These are the breakdown processes of glucose. Increases glycogenesis, conversion of glucose into glycogen so that it can get stored in liver and muscle, and it prevents glycogenolysis, conversion of glycogen into glucose, and thus it diminishes the blood sugar level and prevents neoglucogenesis. What is neoglucogenesis? Formation of glucose from non-glucose substances like fat and protein. Glucose is not formed, thus the level of the sugar is maintained. So these are the major functions of insulin. And the increase of the sugar level is initially known as diabetes mellitus. Where the sugar level increases beyond 120. There are basically two tests. One is fasting, another one is postprandial or PP sugar. So in diabetes mellitus, the blood sugar level increases, and if it goes beyond 180 milligram per 100 ml of blood, then it will come through urine. It goes beyond the threshold level. That means the limit up to which it can endure or it can stay within blood. So sugar will come out with urine, and as sugar is coming out with urine, that disease is known as glucosuria or glycosuria. So these are the problems related to lack of insulin. A patient suffering from diabetes mellitus may take oral medicine which enhances the breakdown of glucose by glycolysis and Krebs cycle, or he or she may take insulin injection regularly, consulting the doctors. So as we have mentioned, the common symptoms of diabetes mellitus is that the healing of the wounds doesn't occur easily. Number two, he or she becomes slim regularly, loses his or her weight at a regular basis. Mental retardation may also occur. These are the common features of diabetes mellitus. Right now we are coming to the another hormone which is not secreted from pituitary, but it is very much essential for our metabolism, that is thyroxine. As we have mentioned, thyroxine is secreted from the thyroid gland by the influence of TSH. one is sometimes becoming heavier or becoming slim, then the doctor advises to test the T3, T4 and TSH. What are these? We have already mentioned TSH earlier. It is secreted from the anterior pituitary of the which is also known as the master gland. It is secreted from the anterior pituitary. What are T3 and T4? Thyroxine has different stages during formation. We may know thyroxine is an iodine containing hormone. Only iodine containing hormone of our body. So it has several stages of formation. When one iodine molecules get attached with hormone thyroxine, that is called monoiodothyronine. Or meat in short form, that is actually T1. When two iodine molecules get attached during formation, that is called diiodothyronine or DIT, that is incidentally T2. Triiodothyronine is a stage where three iodine molecules get attached, that is called T. Incidentally, this is known as T3. And when four iodine molecules get attached to form the hormone, that is called tetraiodothyronine. Incidentally, it has got the same abbreviation like the T. That's why it is not applied in case of tetraiodothyronine. It is commonly known as T4, and incidentally this is the thyroxine. Tetraiodothyronine is the thyroxine. These are the formative phases of the hormone thyroxine. But the scientist says T3 is maximum in our bloodstream. That's why there is a necessity to test both T3, T4 with TSH during when we found any problem in our metabolism or growth or mental health, etc. Or in case of hyper or hypothermia also, because thyroxine is known as a metabolic hormone which may increase the body temperature. If the thyroxine level is more in our body, then it may cause hypothermia or increase in the body temperature. So these are the formative phases of thyroxine. And what are T3, T4? We have already understood. Right now we are coming to the functions of thyroxine. As we have mentioned earlier that thyroxine is a metabolic hormone. So we can say that it increases BMR. What is that? BMR, the full form of BMR is basal metabolic rate. What is basal metabolic rate? 12 to 18 hours after taking a moderate meal, the amount of heat eliminated per square meter of body temperature per hour in a most comfortable condition of both body physical and mental rest is called basal metabolic rate. The basal metabolic rate is 40 kilocalorie per square meter of body surface per hour in case of male, and in case of female that is 37 kilocalorie per square meter of body temperature per square meter of body surface per hour. So thyroxine may increase the BMR. It increases the metabolism of carbohydrate, protein and fat. Number 3, it helps in development in case of development is promoted by this hormone. It is found that the metamorphosis of a tadpole requires about 25 to 30 days, but when the tadpole is released in a solution of thyroxine, then it may get transformed into a toad or frog in 12 to 13 days. So thyroxine enhances the development or metamorphosis in case of lower vertebrates like frog. Number 4, it helps in the formation of RBC, means red blood corpuscle present in our blood, which carries oxygen and CO2. Number 5, it helps in molting. What is molting? Release of scale, বাংলায় যেটাকে বলা হয় হোলস, release of scale in reptiles, সাপের হোলস ছাড়া, and in case of few lizards, garden lizards, etc. It helps in molting. It helps in coloration of feather in case of bird. So there are multiple functions of thyroxine, but the initial few points are very much important when we consider human being. And as we have mentioned earlier that due to hypersecretion of thyroxine in man, a disease occurs in which the eye bulges out, which is known as ophthalmic goiter. exophthalmic goiter. It occurs due to hypersecretion. Due to hyposecretion in child, cretinism occurs, where the growth is prevented or getting stunted. There will be shorter in height, mental retardation of the patient occurs. Sometimes salivation, extra salivation occurs through mouth, and baldness or lacking of hair on head. Idiotic appearance are the common features of cretinism. It occurs due to hyposecretion in child. And another disease occurs, that is myxedema, which occurs due to hyposecretion in adult. Here the face becomes mongoloid, eyebrow remains apart, thickening of the lid, idiotic appearance. These are the common features of myxedema. So these are the diseases which can occur due to hyper or hyposecretion of thyroxine. Right now we are coming to another hormone which is not secreted from pituitary but have a major part in metabolism, that is adrenaline. Adrenaline is secreted from the adrenal medulla. This is the kidney, this is the suprarenal gland, and the middle part is known as the medulla, and outermost part is known as the cortical region or cortex. From medullary part, the adrenaline is secreted. It is known as the hormone of emergency. It helps to take necessary steps during our emergency condition like fear, anger, sorrow, joy, etc. That's why it is known as the hormone of emergency. So, number one, it helps to maintain the physical attitudes in different conditions. It controls emotion. It increases respiratory rate, increases heartbeat, may increase the metabolic rate, so these are the major functions of adrenaline. It is often known as the 3F hormone. Adrenaline is also known as the 3F hormone because it helps to take necessary steps during fear, fright and flight. That's why it is also known as 3F hormone. So these are the major functions of adrenaline. Mention also that insulin is also known as the anti-diabetogenic hormone because it prevents diabetes and anti-ketogenic hormone. Because it helps in the formation of ketone bodies during starvation. Due to abnormality in fat metabolism during starvation, formation of ketone bodies occurs and insulin tries its level best to prevent the formation of ketone body. That's why it is also known as anti-ketogenic hormone. So these are the specialty about all these three hormones: insulin, thyroxine and adrenaline. Right now we are coming to the few rest of the hormones. These are sex related hormones, basically secreted from the reproductive organs of man under the influence of GTH, gonadotropic hormone. Gonads are basically the testes in case of male and ovary in case of female. The major reproductive hormones are number 1, testosterone, which is secreted from the interstitial cell of Leydig of testes. It is secreted from the interstitial cell of Leydig present in testes. We can found few tubular structures which are known as seminiferous tubule, and the cell present in between these three tubules is known as interstitial cell of Leydig. From this very cell, testosterone is secreted. These are known as the seminiferous tubule or sperm producing tubule present in testes. Now we come to the function of testosterone. The major functions is number one, it increases BMR, which makes the body healthy, helps in all sorts of metabolism, that is carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism. Number two, helps in the formation of RBC. Number three, helps in the development of muscle. As a boy or a baby, particularly male boy is aging due to increase in the level of testosterone, he becomes muscular, and it helps also in the change of voice. If we observe minutely, a boy is developing and there is a certain change in his voice, and it denotes that he is becoming adult gradually. So change of voice is definite in case of male due to the influence of testosterone. And most importantly, it helps to formation of sperm after adolescence. That means after reaching a certain period of 18 to 20 years, the formation of or the production of sperm occurs due to fertilization, which helps in the formation of baby. So these are the major functions of testosterone, and incidentally this is a male sex hormone. This is the only male sex hormone. Right now, coming to the other sex hormones, like which are secreted from the organs of female, like estrogen. This is the female sex hormone. Few of the public or the author may write it. The spelling is written as like estrogen. That doesn't affect very much, but the original spelling is oestrogen. This is the female sex hormone, and this hormone is secreted from the Graafian follicle of ovary. What is Graafian follicle? There are some vesicular structures within ovary. These are known as immature follicles or primordial follicles, and when the female is aging and advancing towards 18, the follicle may increase in size and formation of ovum within Graafian follicle may occur. And ovulation, after ovulation, the ovum is released from the Graafian follicle, which may facilitate the fertilization and development of the baby. So this is Graafian follicle, and estrogen is secreted from this Graafian follicle. What are the functions of estrogen? The major functions of estrogen is it increases BMR, basal metabolic rate, as well as it enhances the metabolism of carbohydrate, protein and fat. Number 2, it helps in the formation of ovum and release of the ovum from the Graafian follicle, which is known as ovulation. Number 3, accumulation of fat in the body of the female. That's why it helps in the development of the body as well as the development of the mammary glands, and it provides sufficient space for the development of the baby. These are the major functions of estrogen. Right now we are coming to the another hormone which is secreted as the female sex hormone or female reproductive hormone. That is the third among the reproductive hormones, that is progesterone. Progesterone is secreted Progesterone is secreted from the corpus luteum of ovary. What is corpus luteum? After the release of the ovum, the left out Graafian follicle once again gets attached and it remains within ovary as rejected packet, which is known as corpus luteum. And this progesterone is secreted from this corpus luteum. What are the functions of progesterone? It inhibits menstrual cycle, it helps in the development of the baby and development of mammary gland lactation after the birth of the baby, and prevention of the formation of ovum during pregnancy. So these are the major functions of progesterone. We are closing our class today. We'll discuss the questions of this chapter and go to the other chapter later on in our next class.